anything with a price is cheap.
Yeah.
Everything. A yacht is cheap. It's a price. I tell this to people that obsess about money and how much everything costs and whatever. And I'm like, how much to lose your kid? Like, how much to not have your son anymore? And they'd be like, oh, nothing. I'm like, then that's worth more than a yacht.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? It's like, how much to wake up tomorrow with cancer? Oh, nothing. Well, then that's worth more than everything you're complaining about. How much to like never see your mom again? And so then I'm like, just waking up is more valuable than every single fucking thing that you're freaking out about. You know, it's like, oh, this money and this thing. And I'm like, dude, just call your mom, hang out with your family, like be healthy, like go for a run. Like that's factually more valuable than any of the money shit.
Yep.
And because I don't have a price for comedy, I don't have a price to like poison my fellow man and say that a 7-year-old should have their genitals removed if they're playing fantasy or something. That allowed me to see all of this shit. And that's why I'm very passionate about telling people that like, you can always send a letter, 30-cent stamp. You can always do, if you have the will, you can fucking do it. And the whole must be nice. That's why we titled this Must Be Nice. Because people are like, oh, it must be nice. I'm like, dude, I'm not allowed on
anywhere.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like major media publications lie about me all the time and say I'm a fucking cult leader who like hates everyone.
It's true. It's crazy.
Are you?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, they get mad. People get mad when they see someone who's not conforming the way they are. You know, and I see it a lot, you know, all my very small participation of not participating, you know, when I talk about leaving the book publishing world and I was a freelancer for places like Vice or The Atlantic, at a certain point, I'm like, these places don't care about you, don't want you, and you don't have any real creative freedom. The creative freedom and the family to me is more important than any of this other stuff. I don't care about yachts or all the land. I just care about doing things that make me happy. And I'm staying as authentic as I can to myself and my ideas.
Yeah, because if you take away someone's victim consciousness, they'll hate you for it. That's why people get so pissed. And so that's why I don't trust people with victim consciousness where they're like the world's always, you know, that it's nothing's their responsibility. And it's like they have a get out of jail free card for anything. And every demographic has that. Now it's the white guys with the Jews, you know, all the Jews are doing it to us. I'm like, that's how blacks talk in the ghetto.
Everyone's got their boogeyman because the boogeyman makes them feel better about their problems when in actuality.
It justifies their bad behavior. Oh, why are you late? Oh, you know, there was the Holocaust. It's like, that's literally it. And dude, every group has that. And so I like won't have that. And I was in the prime of my career and I'm not allowed on Patreon and like convicted rapists are. And so crazy. I easily could have been like, oh, I'm a victim. They're fucking me over. Like this is not fair. And I would not be where I'm at. I said, no, this is an opportunity, you know? And we built something really beautiful. And I really hope people like enjoy it and just get pumped for it. It's not about me, you know? It's not about like, oh, tell me I'm great. I don't even matter. It's like get pumped that it's possible because other people can do that in whatever field they're in.
Yep.
And take that energy from it and run with it, you know?
You are my first repeat guest. We're only 22 episodes in. And you are also my only guest that causes so many people to get mad at me, but also so many people to love it. Like there's no in between with you. And I think about this a lot. Like, what is Owen doing to these people? What is it? Why is he making them so mad?
Why they're so mad? You ever ask them when you're like, well, why though? And everybody has a new thing. Like my new thing is I'm a gay Jewish man. That's my new thing. No,
because you're upsetting certain people.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they just will come up with anything to discredit. It's like, oh, scam. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'll show the entire thing.
Right.
And they'll just be like, oh, scam. Meanwhile, they're literally taking part in scams. Like literally, they're all around them all the time and they don't care. Like they're drinking a Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has a hit squad in Honduras. You know, it's like they literally kill, they literally murder union leaders.
Yep.
They have like Pepsi has fucking submarines and shit. You know, it's like it's mind blowing if people actually these do-gooders What do people say when I come on? Are they like, oh, you're gonna?
I'll hear everything. I like the negative stuff when it comes to me, and I think you kind of do too at times. But like, I'll hear he's washed up, he's horrible, he's hateful, all types of wonderful things. But there's people who also love you, and I'm like, clearly, I've seen you get into it with people online, and people who I'm friends with. It doesn't bother me. That's your guys' thing. But like, you're going after things that you think are wrong, or you've been wronged, or people who are liars, or you're saying are liars. And I'm like, well, if that's what he feels, that's what he feels. And who am I to judge? I enjoy that you go after it. You do things where you go after some people, and I'm like, that's how I would be every day. And I'm holding back a lot of rage.
All the other guests that you've had on that aren't washed up, like who am I so far below? I'd love a list. I'm washed up. I just want to know all the other guests that are like just way above.
They probably don't even watch this show. They probably don't even know who's been on this show. That's the thing. They don't care. They see your name and they get triggered and they say, well, now I have to give my 2 cents.
It's our audience. I mean, they're haters. Not all of them.
I think part of it is
it's
like the victim consciousness thing, where it's like, if you say you can rise up above it, you can like change your life and stuff, and they don't want to do that.
Right.
It's like they kill the messenger. And it's the same thing that's happened throughout all the time. Because you can look at my life and there isn't these dark spots. There isn't any of that. It's just like, I don't even have a big ego. Like, I don't even like want people to treat me weird. Like, I don't even like when people want to come up to me and shit. Like, I don't have that yearning that others have. And so I'm just like, dude, I don't know. They're like, don't listen to him. If you listen to him, then my whole life is fucking exposed as a lie.
What I think,
like, I used to make fun of the Holocaust, and people would do that. And then now it's flipped. Now, because I don't hate Jewish people, and blame them for my problems and say, oh, Jews are the reason everything sucks. Like, now they're calling me a Jew. And I'm like, I did all that on YouTube before it was like anything. You know what I mean?
But that's what good comedy should be doing, is you're going out to the edges of what's acceptable, saying things that are shocking to people, but there's like these glimmers of truth to everyone's reactions that comedians bring out in people, which is why people get so mad, which is why whatever's wrong with me, like I like the comedians, although your new special doesn't sound like this, and that's fine because not all comedy has to be this way, but I do like comedians that make people get up and leave. I can't help it. I just like when people are touching whatever buttons people think they shouldn't be touching.
I made fun of veterans last special. And
I saw.
Awesome.
But veterans who love the jokes.
Wheelchair guys.
There's a super chat.
Start helping out. They got to start putting a lawnmower blade under that wheelchair if they want to start. Because we pay for them for their little thrones and all that. I'll take victim consciousness from anybody because it's poison. Last night, me and my family were watching the stars come out, and Walter was doing the story of his family. And he said that I drain despair like a plumber, because he doesn't know what I do. He said my job is I drain despair out of people like I'm a plumber.
Wow.
I thought that was awesome.
That's great.
Because he sees that. He's like, that's what I do for a living. I like, you get despair, and then you like get people to laugh or like make fun of that thing. Because the Holocaust narrative hurts Jews more than anyone.
Right.
They literally think that like they were turned into lampshades and soap and shit. And I'm like, dude, like, get out of that headspace, and it's very manipulative, and it hurts them more than anybody.
Well, that's what Kanye was saying when we were both talking to him about all that stuff. Break the victimhood stuff and hold yourself accountable.
Being a slave is a choice.
Which I totally agree with. We have someone who said something?
Yeah, Dimitri said, Owen is a great entertainer. Trolls wanted him to be his daddy.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, I'm not special. I'm not going to solve anyone's problems or I don't have all the answers. I make mistakes all the time. And I think that the people that hate me the most almost wanted me to solve them or be like, oh, he knows all of it. He's like this. And then I'm not a savior. I'm just hilarious and honest.
Yeah, well, dude, I honestly, and I mean this, I think you're underrated no matter how popular you might get or have been and will be. Like, what you say and what you offer is a perspective on all these things that are everyone's talking about in different ways. And to me, it's really important to have that perspective as well, even if it's things that make people uncomfortable, like the FEMA conversation, right? All these things, you have to be able to hold all these ideas in your head, especially if you're going to be a parent, and let them inherit this dark world. But it's also beautiful, right? So,
Right.
And I think a lot of the people who also get mad at you or who just don't like you are people who know that you take the time and the risk to make something and put it out there. And so they'll go after that part and try to they think that'll bring people down. I'm a sick person. I like that stuff. And I know Andy Kaufman used to do Letterman, and he would reach out to Letterman afterwards and he'd be like, can I get all the hate mail? I can really relate to that. But not everyone's like that, and that's totally fine. But
you ever seen this documentary 60 Minutes, 7 Days?
No.
If you like bombing and hate,
I'll have to watch
all
it.
right, so I'm in LA, and it's still back when I used to be friends with all the famous guys, and they'd all do videos for this thing. It was me writing 60 Minutes in 7 days, and I showed all the bombing, where I'm like, trying and I'm going club to club to club, and I'm like, there's one where I almost fight a guy in the crowd. It's like I'm tanking. And then it's like I'm showing a bit and how it becomes a bit. That's why my podcast is called Why Didn't They Laugh? It's like engineering. So it's like, if you like that stuff, I've always been very open about when I fail miserably. I actually think that there's the most amount of truth in that horror, you know?
I agree.
And so, I don't mind if people talk shit. The thing I mind is when they try and stop, when they actually try and use institutions or use campaigns to try and stop us from just being able to do comedy. That's the thing that annoys me. But people hating me, I find it funny, especially if it's a good bit. If they make fun of something that's actually kind of true.
Yep.
That I have bitch hips or something, or I say too much. Or
We all do.
That's fine. It's when they lie. The lying. It's almost it's just not good it's just not good comedy. It's not good for the craft.
Totally agree, dude. Well, it's always a pleasure talking, man. I thank you so much. We'll make sure everyone goes and checks out your new special. Again, can you tell us where we can find it and when?
Yeah, October 11th at owenbenjamin.com. And it's completely no funny money, completely crowd supported, shot on Bertarian land. And the jokes are solid. I mean, it's just it's a good feel-good special. And it's family clean, but yet edgy at the same time.
Well, dude, I can't wait. Your last special was great. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.